It's easy to feel a little ordinary in life. Travel choice is a bit tame. For an unforgettable experience, venture beyond the asteroid belt. Jupiter is the home of adrenaline-pumping adventure. It is the place to be. You fell through the clouds. It would only get darker, hotter and hotter. The temperatures are higher than the surface of sun and the pressures are unbearable. Hi, stormy from the inside and stormy from the outside. I love to watch hurricanes on television. The Great Red Spot is the most powerful hurricane we are aware of. It has been there for many years. It would be cool to see it. Do you want more bang for your bucks? Io, Jupiter's exotic moon, fire and brimstone, is the place for thrill seekers. These huge volcanic plumes are covered in glowing volcanoes. See Io blasting them off. It would be an amazing place to visit. Escape Io's hot area by diving into the ice-covered alien ocean of Europa neighboring for an encounter of the strangest kind. Are there any reasons to travel to Europa? You bet. Jupiter is a great choice for a change of scenery. There are many alien moons that you can explore here. There's something for everyone. Tempted? It's never been a better moment to make a leap and go where no one has before. Follow in the footsteps of robot pioneers and explore the planets within our solar system. You are invited to the court of an alien giant. Jupiter is one of the most beautiful places in the solar systems. You could see the complex cloud patterns of Jupiter from my spacecraft if you were to approach it. They are constantly changing and are unlike anything else in the solar system. Jupiter gets its name from the Roman king, the gods. This is fitting for the mysterious and brooding king of planets. It isn't fair to call it the largest planet in the solar system. Jupiter is so big that it could swallow all the planets and moons in the solar system and still leave room for more. You can move the Earth. It could be placed inside the large red spot, which would make it the largest. Storm. There are also several spots that are about the same size as Earth. Jupiter has a lot of stuff. It can hold 1,000 Earths. Jupiter is enormous, but it's very dense. It is almost entirely hydrogen-helium. This huge gas bag is made from the most fragile materials known to man. It's still a powerful little mover despite its small size. Jupiter spins at a breakneck pace that it bulges at its equator at such a rapid speed that a day here takes less than an hour. This is the shortest planet. The attractions of Jupiter attracted our attention first. Galileo, an Italian astronomer, pointed his telescope at Jupiter on January 1, 1884. His ingenious invention quickly became one of the most powerful scientific tools of all time, and it turned our world upside down. He saw Jupiter had 4 moons, and could see that the 4 moons were orbiting the planet. This is what first convinced him that the Earth could not be at the center. There were other objects moving around, and they were not the Earth. It was an amazing experience. Io, Europa Callisto, Ganymede. These worlds were like the one we live in, circling a distant master. It's an amazing experience. Anyone can pull at Jupiter with a backyard telescope. You'll be able to see the results for yourself. Jupiter is a miniature solar system in its own right. There are many moons in Jupiter, 4 of them very bright and large, and 2 that are small and faint. These moons, however, are all unique. The king of the planet's cord is full. An entourage of moons, all dancing to Jupiter's heavy gravitational tune, was present at the court of the king of the planets. The trio of gossamer rings on the crown completes the ensemble. Jupiter is a planet who knows how to influence the solar system. It can also impress seasoned travelers. In less than 2 days, a jumbo jet can take you around the globe. This is possible on Jumbo Jupiter. You'll stay in the air for up to 3 weeks. You will need to refuel about every 2 hours. You will not only get sick from the food, but you'll also find it difficult to leave. Jupiter doesn't have a surface. Jupiter is scanned by a strong radar pulse. You get 4 small blips back. The moons of Jupiter are clearly visible. We can even study them using radar. Jupiter is not there. It's almost like a stealthy planet. You might wonder what these objects were circling if you have radar eyes. Jupiter is a stealthy, mysterious planet, and it's worth the journey. It is the best way to fly a trip around Jupiter. The Galileo spacecraft was launched by a shuttle and left Earth for an incredible odyssey lasting years. The first 3 days were spent trying to get out of the neighborhood at a speed that would allow them to travel 3 times as far as Mars. This took about 500,000 miles. There are many bumps on the road to Jupiter. Halfway to Jupiter, you will come across the asteroid belt. It's not like the movies, where you have to dodge asteroids every second. The space is huge and the asteroids are far apart. It could be traversed quite safely. You can't ignore the magnetosphere of Jupiter. Whatever you come across next, although it's not visible, the sound is like an indicator. It's almost like hitting something that you need to do. We're now in the Jupiter system. Do you want to go further? Be aware. This is the most dangerous piece of space real property in the solar system. There's not much that can protect you at Jupiter's magnetosphere. This is a zone that you should avoid at all costs. You should be ready to pay for your electronics if you do. You are dead, you know. You can enter Jupiter's magnetic field to witness a radiation hot zone of incredible intensity. Here, incoming charged particles are whipsawed into a relativistic frenzy by the solar wind. The magnetic maelstrom stretches back nearly as far as Saturn's orbit. The largest thing in our solar system is the magnetosphere of Jupiter. It would be visible from Earth as a full moon. This was like a magnet for NASA, and he set off to deep space for the first time in the early s. Pioneer informed us that Jupiter's radiation belts had been more intense than we expected. Voyager's next mission was a quick one, and we had to rework very quickly to add more shielding. We knew that we would be receiving a lot radiation. Voyagers 1 and 2 flew by in space hardened on their way towards the outer solar system. Jupiter's mysteries have only gotten more complex. How could these massive magnetic storms be created inside a huge ball of gas? Why did one moon explode with volcanoes, while the other remained covered in ice? What lies beneath Jupiter's clouds? Then, Galileo was sent to investigate. Jupiter is the ultimate weatherman's dream. At speeds exceedingly high, jet streams whipsawing at over 100 miles an hour blow clouds in opposite directions. Lightning 10 times stronger than Earth's. Hailstones as large as footballs. It's wild outside. Here, it is surprising how predictable it can be. It is possible to forecast Jupiter's weather more accurately. We can't make one for the Earth. You will need to know the location of the red spots 2 to 3 weeks ahead of time if you want to get close-up images. You can't do this with a storm on Earth. It was easy on Jupiter, because the red spot is so calm it just chugs along. Since its discovery Jupiter's red beauty spot has been a mystery. This seemingly constant storm looks more like an eddy trapped between rivers of clouds than a hurricane. The center of the red spot could be calm if you're floating in a balloon. You'd still be moving fast. Your balloon would travel faster than hurricane winds. It might not be as smooth. The storm, 5 miles high, is breathtaking. Why the red? We still have difficulty understanding the colors of Jupiter. These were among the first observations made by astronomers over 100 years ago. Another puzzle that remains unsolved since the Voyagers sent back their first weather reports is why there's a red spot. As we approached, it was not surprising that things would become quieter. How could a star survive for so many years? It was actually more turbulent, and that is what raised the mystery. How is it possible for a storm to last so long? Hamid Kali tackles this problem in a very practical, down-to-earth way. He blows miniature Jupiter bubbles from his laboratory in Bordeaux. It is huge. It is possible to put to Earth's. Everything is telling us that such things should be destroyed by the turbulent flow around. They can be done by heating a half-soaked bubble in contact with a metallic surface. He mimics the reaction of Jupiter's thin fluid atmosphere to heat from its deep interior. Yes, it is possible to create swirling storm patterns spontaneously. At least for the soap bubble, the main attraction is that it generates single vortices. We don't do any of that to generate them. They just nuked it out of nowhere, basically from the turbulent motion all around them. These things are worth billions of dollars for space agencies. Hamid Karla's method allows you to explore Jupiter from the comfort of your own home. You can only do so much to understand the planet's heart, soul, and soul. You will need to make the leap. Picture a suicide. Dive into the unknown depths. Relax. Galilea has already done it. The probe was separated from the Galilea mothership. We flew in towards Jupiter. It was basically a ballistic bullet. Because Jupiter's gravity just increased on the way in, the Galilea probe entered at an incredible speed. You've now seen images of meteor fireballs within the Earth's atmosphere. This is hundreds of times more dangerous in terms of heat and shock. It was like being in front of a nuclear explosion. On December the 10th, the violence was short-lived. The probe fell through the alien sky at approximately 2,000 miles per hour, and all instruments were blazing. It's very similar to the Earth's upper atmosphere in terms of how it might look. You might see thin cirrus clouds moving by if you were to descend with the Galilea probe. You might also see other clouds. It could be quite strange. It would be like falling into an alien chemical factory. These clouds are not only strange looking, but they also smell. Jupiter can form clouds if you have more than one substance. Ammonia is a cleaning fluid. Then H is the rotten eggs gas. Then below that, water like huge thunderheads. These deep water clouds provide the source of Jupiter's lightning. The pressure is getting heavier and things are hotter. The clouds will eventually disappear. Imagine traversing the Jupiter subject and emerging from beneath the water clouds. It would be like stepping out onto clear skies and descending on an aircraft on the Earth. This could be the most frightening sight in the solar systems. Clear skies over a bottomless pit, an infernal plunge into the depths of Jupiter's infinite sky. Raindrops may be evaporating into Jupiter's hot interior. But there is no ocean there. It's hot, hotter atmosphere. Transmission was lost some miles below the cloud tops. As heroic as the descent was, it only penetrated the outermost onion skins of Jupiter. The mysteries will deepen if you peel back layers Galilea could not reach. To solve a truly cosmic puzzle, we must travel to Jupiter's strange heart. How a gas giant is created. There is no limit to cross, no concrete surface, but deep below the clouds. Hydrogen is sucked from a hot atmosphere to a hot liquid ocean by the pressure. It's deep. Continue down another mile, and the liquid will transform into something else. Temperatures and pressures could reach the point that protons would lose track of electrons, and nuclei would lose track. You basically have a hot ionic soup. It is difficult to visualize. It's like trying to imagine yourself inside a star. For example, hydrogen is converted to a metallic state by the electrically conducting fluid. This is what causes Jupiter's powerful magnetic field. This secret ocean of seething metal hydrogen is what generates Jupiter's dangerous energy shroud. It is not a molten core. This alien onion contains another mystery. This is the key to understanding the origins of the planets. Scott Bolton, who is following the footsteps of Galileo's telescope on Jupiter many years ago, has now been trained by his telescope. According to what we know, the planets were formed from the dust and gas swirling around our infant sun. It was a collision of matter and matter. It was a game for gravitational survival, a race to Jupiter. One planet is like one person. They eat what they want. Is Jupiter the one that went to the most lightweight gases before the heavier stuff? Or did it form just like the rest of the planets, but grab more than its fair share from the cosmic chiller to make ice and gas? There are still some molecules from Jupiter's first meals, including rocks, ice vapors, and dust. The Galileo probe detected higher levels of rare and heavier gases than anyone expected. Things got even more complicated. This did not support any theory about how the planets formed. In a flash, all theories about how the planets were created, including the Earth, vanished. Juno will keep going. Galileo's work continues, trying to solve the mystery of Jupiter's formation. This is done by looking deep into Jupiter to determine if there's a solid center in it. If gravity measurements do not show a solid core, Jupiter may have formed earlier than the Sun. Similar to the Sun with a central core. It was then born later. Juno, which measures water content and creates solid materials, should reveal the temperature of the solar system at the time Jupiter formed. Some theories also suggest that the planet pushed its way closer to the Sun. The discovery of gas giants such as Jupiter across the galaxy is giving rise to a new level of significance in the investigation into their origin. The atmosphere probe was disappearing in clouds but Galileo skimmed past Moon Io and put on the brakes to slip into orbit around Jupiter. The team knew from this point that Io, which is roughly the same size as our moon, would be their main attraction. This oddly colored moon orbits Jupiter's closest four moons. It also contains its volcanoes. Central. This is one of those cases when the headline in the daily tabloid is correct. It is the most volcanic area in the solar system. You can find a volcano within 100 miles of any surface location, and sometimes less. There is enough material from those volcanoes to cover the entire surface to 1 centimeter each year. Every visit to fresh-faced Io is a chance for a makeover. It is unlike any other world that can conceal its age as well. Lucky enough to point to a volcano that was erupting at the time, we were able to do so. This line of fire fountains was so bright they were illuminating the camera, creating a dramatic proof of how active Io is. Imagine taking a night flight over the surface of Io like Galilea. The view down to the churning lava lake would be breathtaking. This is what it would look like to visit the surface. It might look a lot like the red and yellow sulfur-painted landscape you'd see on Hawaii's Big Island. The interesting thing about this is that it has a low-gravity field. These guys look like sulfur dioxide gas eruptions. They create a spray of condensing sulfur dioxide crystals that rise up in umbrella-shaped plumes reaching a kilometer high and then falling to the surface. Giant plumes, a snowfall filled with sulfur, fire fountains, lava, some even more hot than the lava on Earth. Why is Io cooking inside? Io's volcanic activity is due to the energy being pumped into it by Jupiter's tides. I don't mean liquid tides, like those in the ocean. The entire body of Io is being squeezed under tidal forces. Every day, the surface of Io at its equator will be a few meters higher than when it is farthest from Jupiter. It's a lot of pushing and squeezing. Io is Jupiter's warm putty. Attention adventure travelers. Warnings about health are important when you travel to this area. The plumes release gas into space, which is energized in Jupiter's magnetosphere. This creates an intense band of radiation that bombards a surface already saturated with emissions. You might find unexpected protection from Jupiter's space weather in one corner of the Jovian system. Ganymede is the largest moon in our solar system. It has its own force field. The interior is active enough for the generation of electrical currents and the production of a magnetic field. Ganymede's deep inner is likely to be hot today. This is because Ganymede has an internal magnetic field that generates its own magnetic field. It also has an iron core that's hot, convecting, and hot today. It's a great spot to look up at Jupiter's incredible non-stop auroras from the safety of Ganymede's magnetic umbrella, 100 times more powerful than Earth's. From my position on Ganymede, it would be a beautiful sight. Maybe I would have a glass of water in my hand. It's possible to see the oval unfolding in front of me. It would be quite cool. You can also see Callisto, the last of Jupiter's 4 big moons, from Ganymede. Since we first saw Callisto's dark, cratered and pockmarked surface, it has been kind of the boring Cinderella satellite. Callisto's and Ganymede's battered surfaces reveal the darker side to living in the same cosmic area as a giant like Jupiter. Jupiter is a place I'd love to visit one day. It would make a great place to go on vacation, but not in July. It would have been terrible. David discovered the fragmented comet Shoemaker Livy 9 in July. It began its final approach to Jupiter. Instead of one comet, there were many, like comets, that ran through space. It was almost like linebackers down a football field. Jupiter collided at a speed of approximately miles per hour with each comet. Telescopes all over the globe saw bright plumes being thrown into space. They left dark bruises as large as the Earth. It happened again and Anthony Wesley, an amateur astronomer from Australia, saw the huge impact. This black spot is approximately the same size as the Pacific Ocean. Jupiter was again on display in his dual gravitational roles as cosmic Hoover and solar system traffic cop. Jupiter is the vacuum cleaner of the solar system. Without Jupiter, the Earth could be sucked by a comet, perhaps once in a decade. Jupiter is the only thing that would make life possible on Earth. Jupiter is our only hope. Jupiter has stood guardian over life on Earth for thousands of years. We now believe it may have fostered some of its own. Galileo looked closer at Europa. The picture changed. Europa is an amazing object. Imagine descending on a world that looks exactly like the Arctic and Antarctic frozen wastes. You get a good idea of what's happening. Because ice is reflective, it can be very bright. It would be similar to flying over an ice field the size of a moon and landing on its surface. There would be no large mountains. There would be ridges that run across the landscape, which would make it look like ski slopes everywhere. Killer slopes with pale pink stripes, and all with a cool icy surface at a temperature of -0. It's quite a bizarre place, and it really challenges our minds to imagine what could be possible on an ice planet orbiting a huge planet like Jupiter. Europa is stretched by the gravitational strain from being in orbit with Io, Ganymede, and its giant host. Each European day it orbits Jupiter, the stresses spin around, and if a crack forms at the right speed to travel across Europa's surface at about the speed that a person can walk, it will follow a curving path which would explain the pattern we see on the surface. It would probably be able to hear the crackling of Europa's ice shell. If your head was in space, you wouldn't be able to hear it. However, if you put your head on the ice, Europa would probably creak like a boat. These are the same processes that heat Europa, but on a smaller scale. These constant changes in Jupiter's gravitational pull are distorting the surface and generating heat inside. This clue is Europa's greatest secret. Its frozen, icy shell hovers over a vast ocean of salty water heated by Jupiter's intense tide embrace. Europa's ocean is believed to be more than a mile deep, making it deeper than any other ocean on Earth. Europa may have more water than our blue planet. Water is the basis of life. It sounds like this is a place where there might be life. It is protected from radiation by the ice. It experiences the same pressures and temperatures as those found in Earth's oceans. There are many oceanographer friends who want to get soaked right now. It said, "Show me a hole, and I'll send you a robot submersible down there." The challenge is finding it if there is any life down there. We are moving closer to reality than fiction when the possibility of melting into Europa's deep sea is possible. Let's pretend we are on a small spacecraft capable of melting through the ice. We drove down the ice, pushing through it. We reached the water. This may be an interesting area at the interface of the water and ice. We look around. We might find a community organisms growing on energy from the ice and oxidants. Energy is released at this interface. This energy is being consumed by organisms. Okay, that's cool. We had to get down to the bottom. We see hot hydrothermal and deep-sea vents similar to what we see on Earth. Tidal energy is pumping hot fluids through Earth's crust. We found communities of life that were thriving, isolated from the rest of the world, and seeking warmth and sustenance at volcanic vents deep in the sea. Galileo's year-long odyssey ended when fuel and power were running low. This was done to make sure Europa wasn't contaminated by an out-of-control spacecraft carrying a load of bacteria. Galilea died on purpose because of me. Friends always remind me to tell people that it was intentional. The idea was to enter Jupiter's atmosphere with enough velocity so that Jupiter would explode and be destroyed almost immediately. It is now part of Jupiter. Back on Earth, plans for our return to Jupiter are being made in the Lockheed Martin construction base. The Juno spacecraft is gaining shape and will be ready for its close encounter later this decade. NASA and the European Space Agency have teamed up to send 2 spacecraft to orbit Europa and Ganymede. This will allow robots of Marine to explore an alien ocean, setting the stage for their ultimate goal. Europa is a great place for robots. Why? It's quite a distance away. Our propulsion systems don't have the capability to get people there in seconds. It is extremely dangerous to be exposed to the radiation on the moon's surface. Minutes of exposure to unprotected humans can result in a fatal round dose. While you may not want to place people on Europa, we can certainly put robots there. Is there any reason to leave? You bet. Right. It is a completely unexplored planet, with the highest likelihood of life on this planet. We might one day be able to develop magnetic field technology that can keep humans alive in Jupiter's radiation environment. In the near future, however, we will continue our exploration by machine. Robots are not the robotic program. This is a deeply human activity. We're sending bits of ourselves out there to perform these tasks. Soon you find yourself using the spacecraft size as your eyes and become very attached to your spacecraft. Numerous experiences that defy death. It is amazing how far we have traveled to be so familiarized with alien worlds. Galilea has made it possible for both man and robot to continue their journey. Trip to Jupiter to study the weather. I go down into the atmosphere to see the lightning form, and then I look out the window. Enjoy the flashes. It's all here. I would love to be able both to ground down there in Europa's ocean. Is there life down there? Although it's unlikely that I will ever know, we can set the stage for future generations of explorers. We can reach across the oceans of space. The kingdom of Jupiter offers much. Visitor from Earth. It is far off and far away, tempting us to travel there.